You may be seated. The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, Dr. Angela Brown-Burke, Member of Parliament for St. Andrews Southwest, Councillor Kelvin Clark, representing His Worship the Mayor, Senator Councillor Delroy Williams. Let me also acknowledge the staff and representatives of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation who are here with us today. Other political representatives of the Southwest St. Andrew constituency, we bid you welcome as well. The Reverend Bertram Gill, Assistant Curator at the St. Andrew Parish Church. Corporal Rohan James, NHT Board Director, representing Mr. Lennox Channa, Chairman of the NHT. Mr. Channa has sent his apologies for today. Mr. Martin Miller, Managing Director of the NHT, as well as other members of the NHT's management team or senior general managers, and heads of department here with us today, and all the staff of the National Housing Trust, representatives of our stakeholders and partners on this project, all our specially invited guests, our new homeowners here at Majesty Gardens. Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant afternoon to you all. Let me try that again, a pleasant, maybe I wasn't sounding too welcoming, so a pleasant afternoon to you all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. My name is Dwayne Burbick, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies for this very special occasion. Now, today is a day of celebration. Today we celebrate an organization that continues to work to benefit the Jamaican people, as well as we celebrate a community whose members have taken a very important decision that will change their lives and that of their families for generations to come. And as we celebrate, may we also quiet our hearts and say thanks. And I will now invite Assistant Curator of the St. Andrew Parish Church, the Reverend Bertram Gale, to lead us in this moment of invocation and to pronounce a blessing on our beneficiaries, a blessing on this development, and a blessing on today's ceremony. Please make welcome Reverend Gale.
Let us pray. Almighty and everlasting God, whose will it is that all people dwell in safety. We thank you for the NHT and the persons, the events and processes that have accumulated in today's handing over ceremony. Grant to these homes and their new owners the grace of your presence, that they may be known to be the inhabitant, or you may be known as the inhabitant of these dwellings and the defender of their household. May these homes be safe and comfortable spaces for those who dwell in them, and may they be sites of hospitality and neighborliness, and may they be managed carefully and responsibly. May those who are yet to receive new homes be inspired by what is happening here today, and may they receive the fruits of their labor and the desires of their hearts speedily. May this event today, O God, remind us that it is your will for all of our people to have homes, homes that they can call their own, and homes that they can go to after work, after school, and after whatever engagement that they have. We thank you, O God, once more for these homes and the new homeowners. We share in their joy, and may we, in weeks and months and years to come, share in the joy of many other new homeowners in this land of our birth. Through Jesus Christ, our Lord, we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend Gale. The chairman of the NHT has the task of overseeing a housing program that creates opportunities like these, where contributors change their status to homeowners. And as one homeowner told us in Hanover just about 2 weeks ago, it's a moment where they say bye-bye landlord and hello mortgage. The chairman of the NHT is Mr. Lennox Channel. However, he's being represented this afternoon by NHT Board Director Corporal Rohan James, and I'll ask that you please give him a nice, fat, big round of applause as he comes to officially welcome you to today's handing over ceremony, and I believe he will also make a few remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Member of Parliament, St. Andrew Southwest, Dr. Angela Brown-Burke, Councillor Kelvin Clark, representing the Mayor of Kingston and St. Andrew, His Worship the Mayor, Senator Councillor Delora Williams, councillors, other political representatives, Managing Director of the National Housing Trust, Mr. Martin Miller, other NHT executive and staff, project and community stakeholders, beneficiaries of Majesty Gardens, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this handing over ceremony for the Majesty Gardens Phase 1. Today represents yet another key milestone that solidifies NHT's commitment to provide places, spaces that Jamaicans are proud to call home. The keys that we are handing over today will not only unlock the doors to each home, they will unlock an important transition from contributor to mortgager, as well as a wide range of life-changing opportunities. These houses are not just a space for our contributors to reside. They are safety, comfort, legacy, and peace of mind. Our goal at NHT has always been and will continue to be that our contributors and their families have the opportunity to lead a decent life, satisfying and rewarding, especially our contributors in an affordable housing market. With this in mind, we continue to revise the key policies to make housing affordable. Our interest rates continue to be the lowest on the market. Additionally, facilities like our deferred and intergenerational mortgages, parent assist, 100% financing for our scheme solutions, as well as our home grant, continue to bridge the affordability gap for our contributors that need most. At the previous ceremony, I mentioned that NHT had exceeded its housing program with the construction of 23,000 houses across the island. However, I think it is important to highlight that these 23,000 houses are not just a number or a goal that we ticked off. These are houses that are the stepping stones to the creation of a great communities, which are truly the cornerstone of national development. Creating sustainable and functional communities are an important part of what we do at the NHT. Initiatives like our Community Interventional Renewal Program have allowed us to support community engagement and empowerment through housing construction along with a series of social programs. This community is one such beneficiary. This community is one such beneficiary. We also outfit our communities with certain features and amenities and our social development unit works very closely with these residents to facilitate community development. Housing is really a delicate balance of trying to meet the needs of our wide cross-section of contributors, contending with the global market forces while maintaining accessibility and affordability. I believe that we are able to achieve this balance with Majesty Garden. This community is a testament that the NHT has something for everyone at every sector of the market. These homes represent the start of a future worth looking forward to. Developments like this are only possible through collaborative efforts. I therefore want to recognize Mr. Donald Moore, Senior General Manager for Construction and Development, and his team. I also want to recognize the other hardworking members of the NHT team who contributed to today's proceedings. Ms. Ann Vidal and her planning team, Ms. Lorna Bernard, manager for our Kingston and St. Andrew branch, as well as her team members who worked with and continue to work with our beneficiaries. I want to also acknowledge Wendy Jo Williams, who heads our social development department, who has done considerable work with the residents in this community over the years to improve the social and financial capacity. Special thanks as well to the other stakeholders whose efforts and support made today possible. To the new homeowners, welcome to the NHT family and welcome home. I encourage you to relish in the moment. Home ownership is a journey. This is just the beginning. NHT is indeed proud to have partnered with you on this journey. It is now your responsibility to protect this worthwhile investment. We are committed to being there with you every step of the way. When you are ready to expand using any of the designs we have included in your package, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Finally, it was French philosopher Gaston Bachelard who once said, if I were asked to name the chief benefit of the house, I should say the house shelters daydreaming. The house protects the daydreamer. The house allows one to dream in peace. It is my sincere hope that your home will provide you with the space to do just that. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the rest of the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Corporal James. Homeownership, I join you in saying to our new beneficiaries here at Majesty Gardens, welcome home and welcome to this new relationship with the NHT, where homeownership is not just four walls and a roof. Your mindset is about to change. Homeownership is comfort, it's legacy, it's security, it's peace of mind. Now, Majesty Gardens Phase 1 falls within the constituency of St. Andrew Southwest, and the constituency is represented in Parliament by Dr. Angela Brown-Burke. It's therefore only fitting we hear from Dr. Brown-Burke today on the importance of this housing development to her constituents. So let's keep that applause going as we make her welcome. She will bring greetings on behalf of the people of Southwest St. Andrew.
Mr. Master of Ceremonies, Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Corporal James sitting in for the Chairman of NHT, Councillor Clark sitting in for His Worship the Mayor, members of the NHT family, I see SDC and other institutions who have been partners in this journey, members of the community, homeowners, ladies and gentlemen, members associated with the actual construction, good afternoon. I don't know if you know you're in Majesty Gardens. So yes, when me tell you good afternoon, again, try it again. I don't have to say nothing more. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know, I first want to say that I dressed for the occasion. And I want to start there. And I'm not looking in any direction because it's not about what anybody said to me earlier. But we are in Majesty Gardens. And there is a significance to Majesty Gardens. It is about the man himself, the Pan-Africanist extraordinaire Marcus Mosiah Garvey. So I donned my African-inspired dress in his honor. And you would note that it has the colors of the flag, predominantly yellow. If you look well, you see the green, and there is definitely the black. So I think that it is fitting for the occasion. As I came to the stage, however, I read what was on the board, and I thought I would start there. Majesty Gardens, we have spoken about what it stands for. But pretty soon after today, this scheme will no longer be referred to as Majesty Gardens Phase 1. That is a construction term. When you live in a community, it has a name that the community embraces. So we are looking forward to that, don't it? We're also looking forward, and I know, let me tell you about NHT, they listen. They have been on the ground working with members in the community. Miss Little, I never even see you, Miss Little, big up yourself. But working with the community. And we have said to them, whereas some of the other schemes have some addresses, that when you put that down on paper, people know, say you come from somewhere below Crossroads. They block this, room this. Yeah? Because Jamaicans' address don't look like that. So we have said we don't want our addresses to look like that. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that they have determined that your addresses won't look like that. They won't look. It will be a number, it will be a street, a road, or whatever, and then your Kingston 13. You hear me? All right. So I want to say that as well. The next thing is the 3 Mile St. Andrew. The square was known as Portia Simpson Miller Square. Yes? We want to make sure we come back to recognize the woman herself, the queen, as we call her, and mother of all of us. Because that square has special significance, and we want to make sure that it is associated with her for the tremendous work that she has done in the area. And I see the Prime Minister shake his head, so I know he's with me on that. And then the next thing, ladies and gentlemen, is really where we are. You know, Portia Simpson Miller, throughout her career as Member of Parliament, took a lot of licks for the constituency, a whole heap of licks. People spoke about what was not being done and what she had not been able to achieve. But they would not understand the effort and the magnitude of changes and work that she has done to bring this place from where she found it. Significant transformation. The residents here will tell you, and they will tell you that. So they will also tell you that I am always proud following her footsteps. But today, I am extremely proud because I am a beneficiary, right, of her thoughts, her vision for the community. So I come in as a fairly new Member of Parliament, not do one single work with it, but come in to a handing over ceremony like this one. And so I am proud. I am proud of the woman in whose shadow and footsteps I'm walking, and I have no problem doing it. Because as an African in the diaspora, I know that I'm standing on the shoulders of those who have gone before me, and she looms large as one of those persons. Then, you know, I couldn't come down without a talk about NHT, not true? Because NHT really was the brainchild of someone many of us hold very, very dear to our hearts. Someone, former Prime Minister of Jamaica, called Michael Joshua Manley. Yeah, man, we're not afraid to call him name and give him kudos for what he done, not true? Yeah, man. The initiative was really way before its time in terms of just being creative in finding a solution so that individuals who might be considered least able to afford a home would be able to do so. And so I'm pleased that we are here. I'm pleased that we are looking at the houses that have been built, knowing fully well that when they are turned over, these residents, these houses will become homes. Right? They will become homes because the owners are going to make sure all is done for them to be that place of comfort, safety, and peace. So about the safety, right round the back, when we do the tour, that fence is too low. If you ever live beside a gully, you're going to know it's too low. And those of you who live uptown beside a gully, know what you have to do to protect your little clothesline and stuff against the gully. So PM, when we go again, just show you a little bit and you just take a little note because we have to raise the fence line so that right where the clotheslines are, people can sleep at night safely thinking they can wake up tomorrow morning and find the clothes. All right? So I'm gonna ask you to do that as well. And then I'm pleased to see how we are doing with this, and I know that the Social Development Department of NHT has been doing tremendous work. We have seen what they have done in other communities that they have been involved in, and so we're looking forward to what we know they will do in terms of the aesthetics. And this time is where it is appropriate, Prime Minister, the greening up of the area with trees. The environment is what we're talking about. Now, we want to make sure it's clear, not true, because we don't want no mistake with that. So the trees, right, and the flowers, and those kind of things, we're looking forward to see them. But as I end, I want to finish right where I just started, which is the legacy of Michael Manley. PM, many of us take that legacy seriously, and we're going to fight to the death if anybody try mash it up or dash it away. And so, we want to make sure and unequivocally send the message that we are intent on protecting the objectives for which NHT was built. So that, and nowadays we don't just talk about poor people, you know, because working people are having it hard too. And so we want to protect that. We're asking you, Prime Minister, here you said some words, but we're echoing the call to say the reduction in interest rate for public servants, people with disabilities and so on, is a big deal because equity, not just equality now, equity is not just about income source or so. Because someone who has a disability, yes, in that family, they are likely to be earning far less than many other persons, even in the same job. That is what the research shows. When they have a family, can you imagine? Yes? So we have to look at some of those things. And I don't really want to start talking about the public servants because the JT has done a fine job of starting the ball rolling and talking to you about how public servants are and what they need to cushion the crisis. So I'm going to ask you, Prime Minister, you don't have to say nothing today about that. But we want to make sure that as you go about your daily work, looking at what you can do for the Jamaican people, you understand, and you and I know your constituencies like mine. Your constituencies like mine. We have some people who need a hand up, a leg up. And we have to make sure that they know that we are here for them. So as I sit down and enjoy the little rest of the ceremony, looking forward to tour the grounds and welcome you to what will no longer be called Majesty Gardens. I want to just keep alive the dream, the aspirations of Marcus Garvey, that his people will be able to live in dignity, and there are the homes in which they will. And that through your social development department, they will be able to build the skills that keep generations lifting their head up above poverty. Blessings.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brownberg. A bit of cultural and historical lesson coming out there. And thank you as well for the tone that you've set for your constituents or new homeowners, that the NHT has given you a set of houses, a housing development, but it's over to them to create homes, and together with our social development department to build a community, and not just any community, but a vibrant, holistic, thriving community. Thanks again, Dr. Brownberg. Now, Prime Minister, we promised you a busy month where handing overs are concerned. I think this is stop number 3 for you with the NHT. But it's not just NHT, I realize, that has kept you busy, but your National Social Housing Program has kept you very busy as well. And that's a good sign, because housing is indeed one of those avenues through which we build a generational wealth and allow our beneficiaries to not just unlock a door with a key to their own home, but also to unlock a new set of opportunities and a new set of possibilities. So it's a great pleasure to have this afternoon as our keynote speaker, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. And we now invite you, Prime Minister, to deliver your main address.
Thank you very much, Dwayne, for your usual efficient mastery of the ceremonies that we have put on to hand over these housing units that are developed by the NHT. Let me acknowledge, first and foremost, your Member of Parliament, Dr. Angela Brown-Burke, and say that she is an excellent politician. Yes, please, give her a round of applause. Let me acknowledge the councillors who are here from the municipality and the representatives of the NHT and the stakeholders who are here and the beneficiaries. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure for me to be with you here this afternoon. Now, you are my neighbors. 32 duplex housing units comprising of 24 studios, 4 one-bedroom units, and 2 two-story, 3-bedroom units. Of the 32 housing solutions that are being handed over, 3 have been allocated to the new social housing program, and therefore 29 have been allocated to eligible NHT contributors. With respect to the 29 successful NHT beneficiaries, 51% of the selectees are women, and 31% of the total number of selectees fall within the age range 19 to 40 years, and 55% are within the age range 41 to 60 age range. Regarding the income range, 28 of the 29 fall within the income band minimum wage to $30,000 per week, and one person falls within the income band, $30,000 to $42,000 per week. Ladies and gentlemen, the income group that the NHT is now targeting is the minimum wage to $30,000 per week. That has been the income group that has not had significant benefit from the NHT. So I'm very happy today that almost all the beneficiaries are from that income range. Ten of the beneficiaries are casual workers. You know what we mean when we say casual workers. Some may be handymen, some may be washing cars at car marts, or casual workers. 7 work in manufacturing. They work in a factory somewhere. And 17 work in other specialized areas, for example, security, cashiering, and customer service, among other employment. So today I'm very happy because this is the group that we need to focus on and target in our society. In keeping with my administration's push for the NHT to provide housing solution to the lowest income group, these units are being sold at a very affordable price to the beneficiaries. The studios are being sold for $4.8 million. I don't think you can get that anywhere else. The 1-bedroom is being sold for $6 million. And the 2-bedroom, 2-story unit for $8.9 million. It should be noted, however, that these prices have been subsidized by the NHT. What does this mean? It means that the contributors of Jamaica to the NHT are paying for a portion of the full price of the unit so that you are able to afford the unit. In some instances, the subsidy would range from $1.7 million to $1.9 million per unit. Now, if any group in Jamaica needs a subsidy, which group should it be? It should be the lowest earning group. That is the group that needs the subsidy. The people who are getting these units, they need the subsidy more than anybody else. That is fair. That is equitable. That is what Michael Manley would have wanted. So, Dr. Angela Brown-Burke, my friend, my sister, and my neighbor, like you, I am fulfilling Michael Manley's legacy. There is a reason why my name has Michael in it. So, this is what we call now the targeted subsidy approach. We're giving the subsidies to those people who really need the subsidy. So, if you fall within the income bracket, minimum wage to $30,000 per week, you get the subsidy. But the NHT has gone one step further. If you fall within the income bracket 0 to minimum wage, which would mean that you're unemployed, you earn no income, shouldn't you get a house as well? Should it be the case that you live in 2-piece supply, catch up with 2x4 and some zinc? Should that be the case? Is that the moral standard of the society? No. The moral standard of our society is that there should be a minimum shelter for every Jamaican, regardless of their income. So if we have a fixed amount of resources, and some people already have income, they have income to the point where they can afford a mortgage, and then they get subsidy on top of that. If that subsidy were reallocated to the person who has no income whatsoever, can you imagine how many more houses we could provide to the absolutely poor people of this country? So as we are building these units here, these 31 units, we have taken out 3 of those units. And those units will be given to truly deserving persons who are living in the worst of the worst conditions in Jamaica under what is called now the new social housing program. So the way in which we are doing it, the NHT isn't only just building now for contributors. That is its main goal and its main focus. That is the law, and that is what the NHT will continue to do. But the NHT has a broader mandate of building communities. And communities have to be diverse. Communities have to be healthy in both how people live in them and in the environment. And so the NHT also has a mandate to support the development of diversity and healthy lifestyles and environmental health as well. So when we develop the communities, we're not just building the homes. We pay attention, as Dr. Brownberg pointed out, to the environment in which the houses are built. We pay attention to the social amenities that will help to improve the mental health of the people who live there, and we pay attention to the diversity of the community. So it's not just houses for rich people alone, or for a certain segment of people. So we make provisions for the disabled, we make provision for the absolutely very poor, and we make provisions for the working people of the country. That is Michael Manley's vision and legacy. And I feel proud as Prime Minister that I am able to stand on his shoulder and deliver his promise. So these units are starter homes. If you live by yourself, they might be fine. Or if you and your significant other, it may very well be fine. And indeed, it would certainly be sufficient if it's you, your significant other, and a child. But as your family grows, as your needs change, you will have to continue to invest in these units. And they are designed in such a way that you are able to expand them. So the provisions are made for expansion. So you can continue your investment through your own sweat equity, one block on top of another. That's my philosophy. You take your time, but you don't do it in such a way as you deprive your neighbor of enjoying their own unit. So if you have to put sand, you put it close to your yard and you put some block around it, and don't make the sand go and mess up the neighbor's yard. If you have some steel, carry it to your side. Don't make it block the walkway. Right? If your workmen work and then flash up cement, clean it up afterwards. Right? It's so that your neighbor can get the full enjoyment of their property while you are developing yours. Now, MP, I don't know what the new name of the community will be, but whatever it is of your choosing and your community, of course, it would have my full endorsement. You know, I have never understood why it is that we have not developed a kind of standardized system of addresses. We do have a framework, but it is not often followed. Excellent MPs such as Dr. Brown-Burke, she understands when she has to go through the voters list to find people, and all you can see is a road name or a community name, and you just, where are these people? Where do they live? It is quite unfortunate, but this is another challenge that we face as a society, that we don't properly document our citizens. And a part of documenting our citizens is not just establishing name and gender and religion and where you went to school and telephone number. It is also establishing your address, where you live, right? Because it is unfortunate that vagrancy is still a concept in our modern society. It shouldn't be. Every single person should have an address, should be attached to a physical place that you can be found at. Now, I'll give you a little bit of history about the NHT in Kingston and St. Andrew. And when I say it, people are shocked, right? When the NHT was established, the idea was that it would help Jamaicans get housing. And to a large part, the NHT has been doing that through the provision of mortgages and assisting the real estate developers and contractors in financing projects. And the NHT has also purchased land to create a land bank for development. But in its 40-odd years of existence, the NHT has only constructed, maybe 150,000 units. Not more than that. In its 40-odd years of existence. We have to ask ourselves the question, why has it been so slow in the construction of housing? And there are many issues. The NHT has done fairly well on the mortgage side of things, and that drives demand for housing. But on the supply side of things, that is where we have the challenge. Because if we're going to build houses at scale and at pace, we need large developers who can take on 10 and 20,000 houses at a time. We don't necessarily have many of those developers in Jamaica, but we are developing the capacity. But more than that, you need developers who can develop houses at the price point that people can afford. So right now, we have no shortages in the market for people earning over $30,000 per week and more, because those are considered very profitable. People will invest in them, and the private market is providing housing, and people get their NHT mortgages. And that's going fairly well. Where we have the challenge now is when we need to build a house for $6 and $7 million for persons who are earning $30,000 or below. That is where we have the challenge, where we need to provide houses, as I have pointed out here, for the casual worker. Even the windshield wiper, providing he's not doing anything out there that's against the law. But the average person should be able to get a home. So it's not just the mortgage issue is a problem, it is the supply side issue, the availability of the contractors who will build the houses to get to that price point. So in the existence of the NHT, from its inception, Member of Parliament, the NHT has constructed about 8,000 housing solutions in Kingston and St. Andrew. Yes. Yeah, about 8,000. It's not to be clapped for, but I'm just pointing out to you that we have a deficit. And you can look at the number of housing schemes that are within the Kingston and St. Andrew area. We do have on our books, and by the way, Donald Moore from the NHT and Martin Miller, the GM, both are here. We don't have enough land in the corporate area to be able to build the housing solution. So that is also another challenge. Nevertheless, we have identified some housing solutions, and we expect that within the next 3 years, we should be able to build 1,500 housing solutions. Just last night, I sent a note to Martin and the chairman that they need to expand their search for land within Kingston and St. Andrew, because we have to provide housing in the city. So we have Metcalfe Street, where we intend to provide 28 solutions, and that should be completed in 2022. This year, we have the Foreshore Estate, 230 units. We have Maxfield Park, 210 units. That should be completed next year. We have the White Wing community just around the road there, 131 units. That should be completed in 2024. We have Rasta City, that is in Tivoli Gardens, 155 units. That should be completed by 2024. We have the Howard Avenue Apartments. You'll tell me where that is later on. To be completed in 2023, 280 units. We have Bellrock, just across the road, 18 units. We have St. Paul's Lane, just across the road in Tower Hill, 24 units. We have the Surbiton Apartments, 70 units. We have a joint venture in Penwood, 38 units. We have Bay Farm Road. Hopefully we'll get that built. 72 units to be completed by 2024. We have the Ruthven Road Phase 2, that controversial development, 235 units, and that should be completed by 2025. And we have Vineyard Town, 14 units, 2022, totaling 1,505 units. So these are all on track, being developed, and will come to market as they are completed for the benefit of the contributors. So, MP, I hope that I have addressed the issue of the NHD not just maintaining, but increasing equity and access to the Jamaican homeowner. And we are doing it in a very comprehensive way. The challenge we have is that, and I want to just capture your attention for a few more minutes. The challenge we have, and it is the beauty of a free society, is that there is always a competition of narratives, a competition to capture your mind for political support. And, you know, you have something that is a fact. You can look at it as a fact, but everyone will have a different perspective depending on the angle at which they are looking at the fact. Now, one of the things that you would have to do as citizens, as voters, as people who are interested in the development of your country, you have to be able to sift through a narrative. What is a perspective? What is an opinion? And what is the fact? You have to be able to do that. And one of the ways to do that is to always look at context. In what context is the argument being presented? So there is an argument which is saying that the government's policy to restructure how subsidies are given is going to be inequitous to poor people. There's an argument which is saying that the government's policy of restructuring subsidies is going to somehow diminish welfare of contributors and welfare of the entire society. Somehow, the government action will not protect the poor. That's the narrative that is being carried by some. To the point where, policies are being released even before they are at the point of maturity, meaning before they have gotten full approval and they are ready to be brought to the public with a full course of public education, because people have vested interest in seeing policy fail. And I tell you, that is sabotage at its ultimate. That is sabotage at its ultimate. Now, this business of the reduction in subsidies. Before April 2019, this would be the structure of the interest rate of the NHT. If your weekly income is between 7,000 Jamaican dollars and 15,000 Jamaican dollars and 99 cents, you would pay 0 interest rate before April 2019. If your weekly income is between $15,001 and $30,099, you would pay 1% interest rate. If your weekly income was between $30,000 and $42,000, you would pay 3%. And if your weekly income was above $42,000, you would pay 5%. In April 2019, yours truly, your Prime Minister, along with the Cabinet after discussion with the NHT, trying to figure out how do we make housing affordable, we decided that we would reduce interest rates even further so that everybody could benefit. That's equity, that's fairness, that's government being proactive. So we reduced the interest rates. So what we did was not only to reduce the interest rate, we collapsed the income bands. So what we said now, if you earn between minimum wage and 30,000, you pay 0%. Think about it carefully. Before, you would only pay 0% if you earn between 7,000 and 15,000. Now, if you earn between minimum wage and 30,000, you pay 0%. So a whole host of persons, a whole new group of Jamaicans were given this benefit of paying 0% in interest. This administration, this Prime Minister did that. Yes. So, we moved one step further. If you earn between 30,000 and 42,000, you pay only 2% interest rate. So even higher income earners got a reduction. And if you earn over 42,000, your interest rate is capped at 4%. So this argument about taking away of subsidy must be placed within the context of the government reducing interest rate for every category of Jamaican to the lowest it has ever been. Plus increasing the number of Jamaicans who get access to 0%. Now, as I said, it's a battle for narratives, battle for your mind. And this battle is being fought on a political platform, which I call the politics of poverty. Everybody is trying to use the poor to win a political argument. That is a real travesty of all of this. Saying that I am here supporting the poor, oh, I am supporting the poor. But the things that are really necessary to improve the life of the poor gets clouded, deliberately obfuscated to sometimes downright lies, to trick the poor people into supporting policies that are inimical, detrimental, destructive to their own interests. Now, there is a perspective being carried that the government is saying we are going to make any subsidy income contingent. The purpose of a subsidy is to enable the beneficiary, the person receiving the subsidy, to consume. It increases your consumption ability. So you see the house here? You wouldn't be able to afford it without the subsidy. So we give the subsidy, it increases your ability to consume. Now, who should we give subsidies to? Should we give subsidies to people with higher income or people with lower income? It stands to make sense. You always give the poorer people the subsidy because it is fairer. You, the people who are getting these houses, deserve the subsidy. Now, there's one group which has raised issue saying the disabled community would be deprived of the subsidy. Now, what is a subsidy? The subsidy is that if you fall within a certain category, your interest rates are reduced. So if you are disabled and you are in the category 30 to 40,000, you get a 1% reduction in your interest rate. But remember, that category only pays 2%. If you are in the 42,000 and over, you get a 1% reduction, so you pay 3%. If you are a civil servant and you are in the category 30,000 to 42,000, you get a 1% reduction, you pay 1% interest rate. If you're in the category 42,000 and over, you get a 1% reduction. If you are both a civil servant and you are a disabled person, consideration can be given to reducing your interest rates even further. Now, persons earning 0 to 30,000 per week already pay no interest rate. So this policy does not affect them. And let me ask you, who represent the bulk of income earners? Where would the bulk of income earners fall? They would fall within the category 0 to 30,000 per week. So how is this policy affecting poor people? You tell me now. It's a battle for narratives which do not relate to the facts. Now, before we implemented this policy, we didn't go in a back room in the dark and come up with it. I went to Parliament in my budget debate and I explained it. And in that explanation, I also pointed out that what we are going to do is going to be more equitable and much more advantageous to the disabled community. Number one, the previous policy was that if you are disabled or you're taking care of a disabled person, you could get a grant to upgrade your house so that the facility could accommodate a disabled person. And that grant was for $150,000. Yours truly, your Prime Minister, in fulfilling Michael Manley's legacy, increased that grant to $300,000 for disabled persons. Increased it. And if you are disabled and there are two persons in your household, or you are taking care of 2 disabled persons, that grant can be doubled. So you could get 600,000. Now, isn't that a better application of the subsidy, more direct to the people who need it? Remember, you get a 1% reduction in your interest rate. That might work out to not even maybe a few $100s. But we went one step further, and we have said that for the houses that we're going to be building going forward, we're going to make sure that if someone who is disabled applies for the house and gets the house, we will retrofit the house up front. So in every scheme that we're going to be building going forward, there will be provision for retrofitted, purpose-built houses to accommodate persons with disability. And that can be very expensive, But that is more targeted. Now, the disabled community, listening to the narrative, not paying attention or having knowledge of the facts, would say, no, don't take away the policy. But you would be interested to know that only 12 disabled persons have actually benefited from the reduction of 1% in interest rates. Only 12. So what are we talking about? Why this unfortunate battle for narratives? I think I've gone enough. At another time, I will address the issue of the civil service and their access to the 1% reduction. But I'll give you time to digest the information that I have presented here. There will be other openings at which I will speak, because you're going tired to see my face handing over houses. So, Dr. Angela Brown-Burke, my friend, my dear friend, we are at an inflection point in Jamaica. An inflection point. A point where the society is going to do very well. We're going to take off. And there are a lot of people who are nervous about it. They are not sure what will happen with this inflection. They are seeing growth. They are seeing employment. How will the political landscape change? Will they remain relevant, or will they be left by the roadside? And so there is quite a bit of false narratives, ridiculous narratives being placed out there, trying to maintain their supporter base or trying to gain new supporter base. But Jamaica is changing regardless of what we are doing. People are changing their way of thought. My job as your Prime Minister, my job is to make sure that government policy is efficient, it is equitable, and it is effective, and that it serves the people who need it the most. My job is to build partnerships with every sector of the society. The poor who are not working, the poor working class, as you pointed out, Angela, the small business, the large business, the micro business, the medium business. We have to build a partnership. And that is what I'm appealing for, a partnership. If we work together, government is transparent, government acts in an integrous way, we can make Jamaica the place of choice for all of us. This is a start. Please, homeowners, enjoy your house, take care of it. God bless you, and always know I'm working in your interests, and I love you like my own family.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Holness. Context, balance, and partnership. Thank you. So thanks for underscoring that balance that the NHT must delicately create in the discharge of our mandate of ensuring that there's a basic minimum standard for shelter, and as best as possible, we bring our contributors, and sometimes, as you have pointed out, our non-contributors who are not at that standard, up to that standard, and balancing as well financing with the supply of housing. It's now time for the handing over of keys to our new homeowners, and upon hearing your name, we ask the proud new homeowners to come forward. And Mr. Prime Minister, may I invite you back on stage to lead the handing over of the keys to our beneficiaries. And in a moment, I'll also invite Member of Parliament, Dr. Brown-Burke, Councillor Kelvin Clark, and also Director James to assist with the handing over. And we've been speaking this afternoon quite a bit about housing being a legacy. And our first beneficiary this afternoon, I believe, demonstrates that it's an intergenerational mortgage. So it starts with one generation and it will continue with another. And so, ladies and gentlemen, our first beneficiary this afternoon, father and son, yes, Prime Minister, let's please make welcome Mr. Cedric Anderson and son. Let's also please make welcome Catherine Campbell. Dennis Carvey. Please make welcome as well Stedman Crawford. Herbert DeLeon. Hopeton Gray. Reginald Henkelwood. Keep that applause going for Colette Johnson. Maureen Marsden. David Moffat. And our final beneficiary that you'll hand over to, rather, Prime Minister, is Yvette Myers. Thank you very much, Prime Minister Holness. Let me now invite Dr. Brown-Burke to join us on stage as we make presentations to another set of beneficiaries here in the development now known as Majesty Gardens Phase 1, soon to be renamed. And let's keep that applause going as we welcome Pulchari Panton. Turn around. Let's welcome as well Angela Poyser, your namesake MP. Let's welcome as well Tyrone Ricketts. Derval Russell. And let's welcome as well our final beneficiary that Dr. Brownberg will hand over to, Desmond Salmon. Thank you very much, Dr. Brownberg. Let me invite Councillor Clark to join us to make a few presentations as well. And we'll begin these set of presentations with Devon Slater. A unique spelling. I hope I get the pronunciation right. Is it Raquel Smith? Rachel Smith. Let's welcome as well Rosemary Smith. Final presentation from Councillor Clark will be made to Anne-Marie Sutherland. Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. And let me now invite Corporal James, NHD Board Director, to do our final set of presentations for this afternoon. And we'll begin those presentations with Colette Thomas. And she'll come with her own cheering squad. Let's make welcome as well Shanalee Williams. And our final beneficiary this afternoon, Nicolette Willoughby. Thank you very much, Corporal James. And a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for all our beneficiaries here at this new development in Majesty Gardens, Phase 1. And beneficiaries, before you leave this afternoon, just at the end of the ceremony, I'll ask that you gather with us at the front. We like to capture this moment. So just gather as soon as we've wrapped up here. We'll take a quick photo op, and then the Prime Minister, Dr. Bromberg, and the team will go on a tour of the model unit. But before we get into those bit of proceedings, this is my favorite part of the ceremony, where we get to hear from the beneficiaries themselves about what this moment means to them. Now, Miss Colette Johnson will speak on behalf of the beneficiaries this afternoon. Please make welcome as she brings the vote of thanks.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. It's a great honor and privilege to be standing in your presence, delivering the vote of thanks on this momentous occasion. Firstly, I'd like to give God all the glory, honor, and praises for us gathering here today and making it possible for another 32 new units in Majesty Gardens. I thank him that this event is a resounding success. God is good. Imagine 32 units and one is mine. Every Jamaican dream is to own a home to call their own and to feel a sense of pride and self-worth. Imagine Miss Rachel Smith at 60 and Mr. David Moffat at 65 said last night in our community meeting that they never expected to be homeowners at their age. Our experience to own a home was quite a challenge. Many of us never thought it would be possible, but here we are at Starline Court. Our phase is named after the ship. Starline Courts. Our phase is named after the ship, which was to take Marcus Garvey and his followers from the gathering point right where we are today. Majesty Gardens, that's why we were called back to. Our forefathers gathered here to go back to Africa. I would like to extend my warmest greeting and thanks to our special guest and Prime Minister, the Honorable Andrew Michael Holness, for attending the function today. Thank you for continuing the housing program. Well done, MP Dr. Angela Brown-Burke, Councillor Mr. Carl Blake, and our very own CDC President Chisina Campbell, Ms. Lickle, JP for their relentless and esteemed efforts in being a constant reminder to the NHT to speed up the process. The price was reduced. Thank you. There is a special lady, though, former Prime Minister and Member of Parliament, Mrs. Portia Simpson-Miller, who Majesty Garden thanks today. Portia made sure that Majesty Garden was included in the housing program. The new units next door were delivered when she was Prime Minister. The new units, that was over there. Thank you to our employers who gave us time to go to the NHT for processing. Mr. Martin Miller, NHT Managing Director, thank you for remembering Majesty Gardens and supporting your team. The price was reduced and we thank you. Ms. Wendy Joe, Manager of Social Development. at NHT and Miss Shirley, supervisor, thank you. The team has been on the ground from day one, working and paving the way for us to become proud homeowners. We remember the census, compliance fairs, community meetings, training programs, community cleanups and cooking competition. Our music program still continues. Our children benefited and we have our own teachers and engineers in Majesty Gardens. You listen to us. We look forward to the additional pre-occupancy sessions that prepare us to live in our new community. Mr. Saunders and the team from construction, thank you for constructing the new houses. Mrs. Thompson Newsome, head of branches, and her team, Miss Bernard, Miss Henry, and the team from New Loans, thank you for taking us step by step throughout the process. When our minds still couldn't process what was said to us because we were overwhelmed, Mrs. Newsome met with us, put our minds at ease. Thanks to the members of the media for their evincing interest in covering this event, and all the good-hearted people who worked behind the scenes. Thank you all for your cooperation in making this function a meaningful and memorable success. Last but not least, our neighbors and friends of Sweet Majesty Gardens, thank you for keeping the peace in Majesty Gardens. We all love our community. We pray that those who do not own their own homes will be able to do so here in Majesty Garden very soon. Finally, I leave with you this quote: keep praying and believing in God and yourself, because through Him, all things are possible.
Thank you very much, Ms. Johnson. Thank you. Now we are at the end of the formalities. Just a few more instructions for you this afternoon. So the Prime Minister and the touring party will cut the ribbon to mark the opening of the scheme, and the touring party will be led by manager in our corporate communication and marketing department, Mrs. Caroline Morgan, and we'll ask Prime Minister Holness, Dr. Brown Burke, and Corporal James and our beneficiary, Mr. Reginald Henkewood. After Prime Minister Holness will plant a tree to symbolize the vibrancy and sustainability of the community, and he will be joined in that exercise by Mr. Hopeton Gray. Now, it was my pleasure to have been your guide through today's proceedings. A big thank you to Edge Marketing, our event planners, PRS for our sound, the marketing and sales team at the NHT, our Usher Corps, the planning team in the managing director's office led by Mrs. Ann Vidal, our branch manager, Mrs. Lorna Bernard, and her team, and
Violence against women and girls is a human problem, not just a woman's problem. It's a problem for men too. Gender violence takes many forms, including sexual assault, domestic violence, relationship abuse, sexual harassment, and sexual abuse of children. The magnitude of ongoing violence against women and children in our country is cause for alarm. We can end the violence. It requires all of us to end the violence.